health and humorous.
Alright guys, welcome. I'm re-recording this because the audio of the first one I was not happy with. It was very choppy even after re-rendering it, and I feel like I left a lot out and I can do a better job. So first off, I want to thank you guys again, especially the new people. You guys pushed me over 230 per month, which is fucking crazy. You guys have no idea how much I appreciate it, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm going to work on the best to keep producing these at a weekly basis. This week I have midterms and I'm going to be going out of town, so it's going to be a little rough. I'm going to try and do a blog post while I'm on the road and try and touch on my next topic, which I'm going to get into a little bit in the video. And then also a big thanks to Mena Quinn, Fala, and Stud, because without those guys, really wouldn't know much about this, and especially where to begin. But this one I did a lot of my own research. I've been basically researching NCBI articles, published medical articles, all that fun stuff all week to kind of condense it and give you guys a better idea as to what we're talking about when we say insulin resistance versus insulin sensitivity. So without further ado, let's get into it. So insulin resistance, what does that mean? What even is insulin? And why is it important to you? So the background is insulin resistance. Your cells become resistant to insulin when you ingest sugar. With your average quad diet, it's usually higher in starches and carbohydrates, sugar. So to facilitate the actual cells and where it's going in your bloodstream, your body produces insulin. So the insulin goes to, or the glucose from the sugar goes to three places. It either goes to your pancreas, goes to your muscles, and it goes to your fat. Oftentimes with insulin resistance people, your pancreas is already full, so then it goes to your muscles and then fat. If you're not exercising regularly, which hopefully everyone here is now doing that, and your muscles are going to be growing, then you're going to be using up a little bit more of that glucose. And even earlier this week, we had a mini debate in the patron chat about where or why you shouldn't be having whey protein versus pea protein, which is actually going to be the next video. And because the question was, well, does pea protein have glucosamine in it? Well, you can still get glucose from fats and from protein. It's a big meme that glucose only comes from sugar. It's just the main source of it often. I mean, glucose means sugar, basically, sugar digested sugar. So basically what you have with insulin resistance is your body has been dealing with spikes of sugar and just an excess of sugar, and it's been producing all this insulin, and your cells kind of get tired and they start resisting it. So they resist it by just accumulating the fat from it. So we need to kind of fix that is the main goal. And I'm going to give you a few options of it. A lot of people, when I started this Patreon, it seemed like you guys just wanted a list of supplements to be taking, and that was going to be it. I can do that for you. I can tell you what to take, but I'd much rather teach you the processes of why you're doing it, so you know that this isn't just like some bro science. There's part bro science in this, but that's because it seems like the people at Fit know a lot more than your doctor, which is scary. Even just small-time doctors. One of the ones that I sourced a lot of, I think Dr. Eric Berg, says that, especially with type 2 diabetics, that doctors still say that you should have everything in moderation. Fact of the matter is, if you're type 2 diabetic, you shouldn't be having any sugar at all. And one of the easiest ways to fix insulin resistance and get yourself insulin sensitivity is what I mentioned in my last video. I didn't mention it specifically, but is doing ketogenic diet, which essentially amounts to a sugar fast. So that's part one, especially if you're If you're overweight or obese, you're more than likely going to have insulin resistance. So what are the symptoms of insulin resistance? Well, you're overweight usually or obese, brain fog, so you don't think clearly, and the big one that a lot of people, you either know somebody that's like this. I myself am like this sometimes, or you experience it yourself, which is the hanger thing. You get hungry and angry if you don't eat within a certain amount of time. So this is actually going to fix that. And A lot of this is, like I said, just caused from insulin resistance. So your body's producing extra insulin, and after a long elongated amount of time, you end up developing type 2 diabetes. So we want to avoid that. And a lot of people are a lot closer than they think to developing that than you really know. And it's scary how prevalent it's become in America, because just standard dieting, the standard quad diet that everyone says, is causing this. So, how did they start finding out about insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance and stuff? Well, one of the first studies that was sourced that came across was the antioxidant thing. So you probably remember or seen it yourself the past few years. Antioxidants have become this big thing. You see a bunch of fruit smoothies and a bunch of superfruits and stuff. They're full of antioxidants. Well, they actually kind of screw you over by making you more insulin resistant, thus maintaining more fat. So that's not a good thing. I'm not saying to avoid antioxidants. I didn't delve too much into that, but the studies say that if you have an excess of antioxidants, it's going to increase your insulin resistance, which is what you want to avoid. You want to become insulin sensitive. So the first fix that I just went over was sugar fast, ketogenic diet. So even for the people that are watching this, where you don't think you need to lose weight, if you're already in the lower body fat percentages, this is just going to be a good start for you to make sure your body is insulin sensitive. Because I'm going to be offering a diet for the people that are already in their sort of fitness goals, their diet goals, where you just want to build mass off of it. If you're not, if you're still overweight or obese, God forbid, stick with the ketogenic diet. You at least want to do this for probably 3 weeks to maybe a month, and really stick to it. First reason is just to make sure you're disciplined enough to get into the harder stuff. A lot of this comes down to mindset, which is what I said earlier. And disciplining yourself is a very hard thing to do, especially when you enter this and you're really starting to look at what you're ingesting. And maybe you work in an office and somebody brought in donuts because it's Friday. Resist it. If your roommate decided to buy pizza, or your parents or whatever decided to make pasta or something, stick with it. It's really not okay to step out of line on it when you're trying to be serious with what you're ingesting. And maybe you'll get a little bit of flack from it. Maybe people will think you're a little bit weird, but at least you're being healthy, and these people honestly don't know better. So you can kind of set an example, and then maybe 3 months down the road, when you start noticing major changes in your body, you've lost a ton of weight, you've gotten a lot stronger, you've been more productive at work and less tired, maybe they'll start coming to you for advice, and then you can say, you know what, hey, pay me and I'll tell you. So that's the first one, is just the ketogenic sugar fasting. The second one, which is also free, is another one I mentioned in the last video, is intermittent fasting. That is very simple, increases your insulin sensitivity, completely free, and it does it just because you're starving off yourself, you're starving off the sugars that are already in your body, because more than likely your body is already full of insulin, it's already full of unused sugar, and you need to starve it off. So if you can do that by not eating for certain hours of the day, very simple to do. And now we're going to get into, this is, now we're going to start getting into a little bit of the supplements you can take. So modern research has confirmed high doses of aspirin or related anti-inflammatory compounds have a striking effect on diabetics, not only lowering blood glucose, but also increasing insulin sensitivity. In 2001, a landmark paper in the journal Science confirmed that aspirin has this effect due to its inhibition of anti-inflammatory signaling pathways. Since then, it's shown that blocking inflammation in various forms prevents the development of insulin resistance. So this doesn't mean to just add a bunch of aspirin to your diet, although if you're doing an ECA stack, you're already doing that, so you're already on the right path. A lot of this stuff I'm trying to tie in together just to make it easier, and a lot as it is tied in together, it's just simple health things that you can do to just make yourself healthier. So that would be the first one. Going on from that, cortisol, which is what your body produces when you're stressed. So if you don't get enough sleep, if you're not getting enough 8 hours of sleep every night, if you're under a heavy workload, your body's going to be producing more cortisol, and that's both physical and mental stressors, and your body is going to react to that. So reducing stress in your life, whether it be, maybe it's staying off Twitter for a couple hours of the day. That's going to be a big one, and then you're not going to see all the stuff that triggers you or really upsets you. Just really working on de-stressing your life, giving yourself a healthier thing, and part of that too is when you're overweight, when you're out of shape, you're going to be more stressed in general, just because your body's not in its best shape that it can be. So working on that from the get-go is going to create a positive feedback loop where you start losing weight and start becoming healthier the more the healthier you get. So if you have a friend or something that seems to eat whatever he wants, I had a friend like this growing up, seems to eat whatever they want, they're probably a lot less stressed than you. They probably have a good insulin sensitivity, and it's not just that their metabolism is higher, which it probably is, but it's very simple things you can change in your life to affect that. So going on from that, what actual supplements can you take? Because aspirin I don't really count as a supplement. So the reason I started this video was, why should you drink apple cider vinegar? So you want to get this. Apple cider, raw, unfiltered, that's important. That's the other important part, with the mother, unpasteurized. So I do recommend Bragg's. You don't need to order this off Amazon. You can probably go to Kroger or your local supermarket and get it for about $6 for the size. And what you're going to want to do is just fill up a shot glass and then mix it with probably about 8 ounces of water and drink that every morning, right when you wake up, just because your body's going to then go into the mode where you're going to want sugar. And if you do decide to have a bagel or something, I wouldn't recommend having a bagel. If you are going to have sugar, you're probably going to want to have rice, or even better yet, a potato. And it's actually going to increase the satiety of it, which is how insulin sensitivity works. It takes the carbohydrates that you take in and makes them slower to metabolize, so you actually get the full nutritional value from them. Not just from the sugar, but the full nutritional value of everything that you're ingesting too. Because if you're insulin resistant, your cells are also going to be resistant to all the other nutrients that you take in with it too. I also recommend apple cider vinegar before most meals that do contain starches. So if you're at lunch and you're not doing the ketogenic diet, and let's say you go out to Chipotle or something, and you get white rice, not brown, or you do something that's heavy in starches, it's gonna actually give you the full nutritional value of what you're eating, of the starches. So that's the really important thing. I especially before high starches meals, do another shot of that mixed with water, and you're going to have the fat not hold on as long. The meals are going to fill you up quicker, and your insulin sensitivity is going to be higher from it. The other effect, which is going to be kind of the source of the next two videos that I'm doing, is it also has a positive effect on your it is a probiotic, so it has a positive effect on your gut flora. So keeping that in mind, the better your gut flora is, the better you are going to lose weight. You're also going to be healthier, and probably actually help out depression a little bit too. Unknown fact, the healthier your gut flora is, the better mentally you are. And also other people, including women, and even just your peers, sense a healthy gut flora. It's kind of an indicator of I guess, just being normal and approachable. So you will have a positive effect in that way. The second one to increase the insulin sensitivity is berberine. This has been used in China for thousands of years. Um, Ancient Chinese secret, really. And berberine is this bottle should last you probably about 2 months. 600 milligrams, 5 to 600 milligrams a day. You may want to up it to 3 times a day, depending on how bad your insulin resistance is. If you're very overweight, spread it out kind of like you do an ECA stack. But it's going to do the same thing with insulin sensitivity. It's going to make sure things are breaking down at the correct rate. It's going to not overload your muscles with a bunch of insulin and make it go to adipose fat because it's not being used correctly, and it's going to make you healthier overall. Berberine is actually better than the current leading type 2 diabetic prescription drug, glucophage or metformin. It works better, increases insulin sensitivity better than the people that are currently on it that do have type 2 diabetes. And if you are type 2 diabetic and you're prescribed that and combine it with this and the apple cider vinegar, you're basically going to be life hacking your body into peak insulin sensitivity. There's only a few other things you can do without going into the hormonal market that are going to affect that much. And then the last two is cinnamon, and cinnamon has been known for a long time to be an anti-inflammatory, so kind of ties back into the thing with aspirin and just lowering your inflammation of your body, and it also tastes good. So it increases insulin sensitivity and decreases inflamed muscles and inflammation in your body. And the last one is magnesium. I would recommend getting magnesium citrate. I will put an Amazon referral link for all these things except the apple cider vinegar, just because Amazon rips you off on the apple cider. And just taking that twice a day will also increase your bowel movements. I was unknowingly taking magnesium citrate for a few months for that reason. So there's that's really all that it comes down to is those things. You have the keto sugar fast, the intermittent fasting. Those two things are free. Taking aspirin, just an anti-inflammatory, will work. Apple cider vinegar, at least once in the morning, if not before some meals. It's really going to help you out. Vinegar's been known for the polyphenols, compound synthesized by plants to defend against oxidative stress. Ingestion in polyphenols in humans enhances in vivo antioxidant protection and reduces cancer risk. So that's really what you want. You could drink regular vinegar, but the apple cider vinegar has a lot of other effects, like I mentioned, the probiotic effect on it too. Berberine and cinnamon and magnesium. That's really all that you need to kind of fix the insulin resistance that you may already be having, or to help the insulin sensitivity that you're already starting to get and that's really the goal, is to make yourself less insulin resistant, just because you're going to help yourself out in the long run to losing fat and keeping it off, which is the important thing. You're also going to help make your meals fill you up longer, so you're not going to get that false sense of hunger that you may usually get, where if you eat a bag of potato chips and you're like, that wasn't filling at all. Well, it's because there really weren't any nutrients in it besides carbohydrates. You could essentially increase your insulin sensitivity and it will be more filling. But I would still say avoiding things like that, avoiding the processed foods, avoiding especially fried foods, that's really going to help you out just in the long run. So basically that's all that I have for the insulin sensitivity. If you have any questions, go ahead and either comment on the patron page or in the accountability chat. I'd be happy to answer them there. Like I said, I have my room is a mess right now. My life is not, my life is alright, but everything is very jumbled just because I have midterms and I'm going to be going out of town. So I don't know if I'll be able to do a video next week. I'm going to work on it, but the next video is going to be the discussion of whey protein versus pea protein, which seems to be a very hot button topic. Again, still recommend pea protein, way better for you than whey, and we'll get into that why. It has a little bit to do with what I was talking about earlier with gut flora. And the last things that I've been forgetting to mention in the previous videos. So we should be 3 weeks. This is the third week that we're into this. If you've been here from the beginning, so thank you guys again. You probably want to start taking progress pictures or having somebody take progress photos of you. And these aren't just bodybuilding photos where you really need to go in a mirror and flex and make yourself look as thin as possible. You really want to see where your body is now, and it'll help you compare where you may be 2 weeks from now, and especially a month or two from now. And then that way too, you can also say, hey, look, this is the progress that I've made in this amount of time, and this is how I did it. And you can start kind of becoming an acolyte of mine and help making the people around you healthier, which is really the goal. We want to make as many people healthy as possible. The study just came out that 4 out of 10 Americans are obese, and type 2 diabetes has been on the rise for a very long time, and that's simply from insulin resistance and the standard quad diet. And it's not that hard to take supplements to counteract that, or to change your body's lifestyle with just regular good nutrition and exercise to fix it. So that's all that I have. Really, again, thank you guys for supporting me. I really hope you guys like this video. I put an extra amount of research into it. I'm going to provide links at the bottom of it if you guys want to go through and read through on it. I made sure all of them weren't behind a paywall this time, so should be very simple. But thank you for watching. Thank you guys again hugely for supporting, and I look forward to making the next one and continuing this journey with you guys. So thank you.